Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of the Direwolf20 1.21 Modpack, and today we are going to get into automating occultism. So this is going to be easier said than done, because I think I've done this once, and that was with an older version of occultism, and I don't think it's going to be too much different than what we're about to do. First things first, we're going to automate spirtfire. So I've got a hole dug here, and the reason I've got a hole dug here is because spirtfire likes to shoot things out in all directions. So if we can contain that without really, too much hassle, we'll have a pretty fantastic time. So the next thing we're going to grab is a dropper module. Apparently I picked up one that actually has upgrades in it, but that's okay. So dropper module on the down direction, and we are going to drop whatever is in this modular router, okay? So for example, andesite, which gives us other stone. Let me throw some in here. That should drop directly down with no deviance or offset. And then that will then become other stone, as you can see down here. Perfect. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually pick this up with a modular router. And this should allow for us to grab a vacuum upgrade. And the vacuum upgrade is going to just be filtering to all of these items we have over here. So let's just do all directions. We're going to grab Spirit Attuned, Otherworld Essence, Taboo Book, Purified Ink, Awakened Feather, Otherworld Ashes, and Other Stone. I did go through the Spirtfire crafting stuff, and this is really the only stuff that we need as of current, because everything else is like chalk and stuff. I don't really need to automate that. So we're going to whitelist that, and we should be golden. One thing else I guess we should grab is some speed upgrades, and potentially some stack upgrades, I think. Modular, let's see, stack. This one right here, stack upgrade. Just so that way we are getting a whole lot of this stuff picked up pretty quickly without any hassles. So this and that, and then that should be golden. Okay, so we're going to just have another bit of andesite drop in here. Oop. Am I picking it up? I think I was. But that's okay. So now if we go down here, we see that other stone has been picked up. My magnet is off, but I was standing next to it, so that was a problem. So let's grab some andesite, throw that in there. See how it just drops. Okay, and we'll just take out the rest that we have in there. And this should have a handful of other stone in here. All right, so the next portion of this is going to be sending the stuff. And actually what we can do is we can grab a sender Mark II and just send into the actual thing. Okay? And then we also want to make sure that we are locking this until we actually receive the result. Just because I think that's just going to be a good option, especially if I accidentally break this or something along those lines. But this should be pretty good. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of glass around this, just so I don't accidentally bump into this stuff. But I also want to grab probably one more thing, I think, which is a demagnetization coil. And we are just going to simply place this right here. And we are going to increase the boundary just a little bit. Whitelist. And we could add, well, I guess we could if I had all the items, because this doesn't have JEI compatibility. But this should allow for me to not have to pick up other stone when I have a magnet and everything on. Because, of course, you can see we aren't picking anything up. But that thing down there will. Which is fine, because we shouldn't be dropping other stone anywhere else. But that is Spirtfire automated. I do actually have an other stone pattern in here, so that way we could actually test this. And we could just say, hey, I want 64. Send it. And is there a way to actually... Okay, so no. As of right now, the reason this is going so slow is because it is the pattern provider not giving out all the items, which is okay. So it'll have a slow time. But that's okay, because it's basically waiting for the result to go in. And I don't think we actually... I mean, we could test this. Just never lock it. So now you can see that everything went in there. So if I were, for example, to get Spirit Attuned to Jim's recipe going. So this right here. And I were to say I want 32 of these, right? It's going to have to wait because, of course, this modular router only has a buffer. And if we grab speed upgrades, actually, do these affect this? I don't actually know if they affect the dropper module. They actually do. Cool, so this actually could speed things up. quite significantly. And if we did a stack upgrade, would that also increase it? Because the Spiritfire doesn't really have that many limitations. Cool. So now if we were to do 16, it should just drop all 16 and then return all 16, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so that's better. So 6 and 3, that seems like it's a pretty good amount. I don't think it'll be like super a lot, but that's okay. And then we also, of course, just don't pick those up around this, which is awesome. Okay, so automating these, the rituals, which is the next portion of this. So I do want to add dimensional mineshafts to this one over here, which is Striker's Higher Binding. And to do something like this, we do need to grab some bowls. Some sacrificial bowls here. And this one requires 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to just put down probably a little bit more than that. So in the inside, you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll call that good. So we're going to grab some Fluix cable here. And we're going to put this here and this here. And we're going to grab a pattern provider. It's going to be really weird because we're not putting it where we need it to be. But we should be able to kind of use LaserIO to make this easier. So pattern provider, and then we need the laser nodes. We're going to need a little bit more than that. So we're just going to grab 16. Okay, and of course we'll get item cards and all that stuff later down the line. So we're going to grab a barrel. And we're going to set this immediately to lock. Without, like, you wait till the return of the crafting result, right? So we need to wait for that. So it's going to push all the items in here. We're going to then just use a laser node to pull the items out of this barrel. And then we're going to probably need a laser node connector. This thing here, the laser connector. To just get the range that we need. So this will be hopefully good enough. Okay, so no, I need to pull it back one set. There we go. And then if we're able to reach here and or here, we should be golden. Okay. And then we'll just connect off of those. So the thing is right now is just getting item card insertions into these. And then with this center one, we're actually going to set this one up on camera because the rest of these are just going to be item cards, right? We want to make sure we don't send the books into them. So we're going to do the exact opposite what we're about to do here. So let's grab some overclockers too. I forget about those. And let's grab some basic filters. So in the down direction, we're going to insert. And we're going to insert on a filter. And we're going to look for the Book of the Djinn and all of those different books, right? So these right here. So they have to be the Book of Bindings. So Foliot, Afrit, Marid. And then I guess we have to make sure they're actually the ones can be used to summon on the bottom as well. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So nothing too extreme, just 4 books. And what we can do is we can actually do what we did with the Spirtfire, and we can just bookmark these for future use. Did I get all of them? Hold on, let me just... Okay. And then that should allow for those. And then over here, we can actually do the exact opposite, right? So we would want to say, hey, on the down direction, insert this filter. But this filter is going to be deny. But we're again just going to put the books in here. And that should be golden, okay? So I just need to copy this card, which we could get the card copier if we wanted to, and then just paste this all around, right? To the other 12 pedestals, and that would be automated, okay? So let me get that done, and I'll be right back, and then we'll run it, and we'll see if it works. Quick interjection here. If you guys are enjoying this video, please do leave a like and or subscribe, as it is greatly appreciated and helps me know that you guys are wanting more and more of this content. Of course, we are trying to release this daily, as well as other content, but of course, I'm on a time crunch 90% of the time, and yeah, that is okay. If you guys do have feedbacks, comments, concerns, anything of that sort, please do leave a comment down below, as I do love interacting with you guys as much as I can. And we'll get back to the regularly scheduled program. I guess there is one more thing I did forget to mention. We will have to input back into that pattern provider. To do something like that, we're going to need to grab a, let's say, absorption hopper here. It's not a bad idea. And I'm actually just going to put an entangled block right here. And we'll just bind this pattern provider to here, put the absorption hopper here, and then on the down direction, we're going to put item, and that should be enough range to actually pick up the item that has been dropped and then send it back into the actual pattern provider. Okay? And then, of course, by the way, this will not affect the actual ritual, right? We could still use this ritual manually if need be, but I just wanted to mention that's how we're going to actually export the item back into the system so the crafting does complete. And you could switch the absorption hopper where the entangled block is and vice versa if you wanted to, but I don't really see the point because this does have enough range, perfect amount of range, to actually sit on the ground where it is at and pick up what we need to. Okay, real quick, I did make the card cloner to make this much easier. Basically, what you do is when you have a item card or whatever card you want configured, in this case we do have a basic filter, and this will carry over and copy those filters. So basically I can just left click and you'll hear like a pencil scrolling sound. That means it's copied. And then now I just need to go over to another node, put an item card in here, and then right click, and you'll hear like the sound that something's being applied. And that then means that if you look in here, it's got the exact same information that you need. So now we just got to connect all of these together. Not really all of them, but enough of them to actually make sure we have everything aligned. Because, you know, you can just do one at a time here. Perfect. And then we just go out this way. And then now everything is connected, which is perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up a recipe that we want to actually test with. So, for example, the Foliot miner here, this thing right here. So this is not a complicated recipe by any means. It's very simple, but we will have to teach this thing a couple of things. So this and the book of the Foliot here. So we're actually going to need another dictionary of spirits, and this is going to be a single use item, right? We're not going to need 10 or 20 of these. It's going to be a one independent use item. We're just going to leave that into the system. And then now we're just going to set this to craft, which is this, and then I think we may need to teach it blue dye, which we're just going to teach lapis to be that for now. And that should be good. So this goes in here. This stuff goes in here. And then I think we're golden. So we just give this a test run. I'm going to turn my magnet off. I did add a demagnetization coil, but I don't want anything to go wrong. So we're just going to send it. Oh, so it looks like it's going to have a problem with the book. So what we need to do is we need to just craft one of these books, whichever one comes out of our system. And it looks like it may be swapping. Did it? What did it do with the Dictionary of Spirits? Hold on. So, how do we go about this? Probably no substitutions instead. And then we look up Foliot. clear this one. And we'll try foliot again. Why do we have 2 recipes in there? I thought I just took the recipe out. Okay. So, one of these. And we're just going to put this in the crafting table for a second. One of these. So you see how this is the exact same name? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take out this miner recipe here. And we're going to have to reconfigure. This is the thing I had to do in all the mods 9. So we're just going to do that, and then that should be golden. So now if we were to craft a miner foliot, we should be good. If I actually put an extraction card on this. That might help. And put it on the right direction. So we're just going to watch this from a distance here. You see how everything just kind of went and that book got placed, which means that it's operational, and that is perfect. So, of course, you can't do everything with this system. If you wanted to, you could probably figure out how to, but I don't know how the sacrifices and stuff would work if you wanted to try that. I think if you were to use something like Just Dire Things, you could potentially do that, but I'm not even sure if that would work. You could just set it to where it'll take out mobs, and I think if you were to just enclose this in glass, you would be able to most likely do a sacrifice. So if you wanted to attempt something like that, 100% feasible. Will I be doing something like that? Nope, because that sounds absolutely ridiculous. You can see it's almost done. And of course, if you wanted to make this better, Industrial Foregoing Souls is an option. You could attach it to the golden sacrificial bowl in the center, and that actually will speed up the rituals, because that's how I speed them up right now, is with the temporal pouch. And that is basically the same effect. So, did that absorb it? Yes. Kind of. So the issue right now is that this recipe, and we're going to cancel this recipe here in a second, is looking for... Let's get rid of that, because I didn't even realize that was there. So we're going to just change the recipe to do that. So we're going to have to do some manual configurations. That's kind of what we're getting at right now. And if I were to grab this real fast, it is not going to work because we're still looking for that. So let's just clear that. So we've got the miner foliot. Let's go one more time. Okay, we've relocked the crafting. Let's also put blocking mode on. And it's not going to lock itself because I didn't do it in time, but that's okay. So I'm just going to run this one more time after this and make sure this works, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I currently can't do this ritual again. I'm almost out of raw Isnium ore, so I need to just be patient with that. But we can actually get up the dimensional mineshaft one now, and that should be the next portion of this. So we are going to just do this. And for right now, I don't have Isnium in a simple compactor thing. Simple compacting drawer, so we're just going to run it that way. And we should just be able to put this here, this in here. And this shouldn't have any real shenanigans with it. I think the only thing that we also need to craft is the Book of the Jinn. And that's not too complicated. If we need purple dye, that is going to be source berries, because we got plenty of those. And that should be golden. And then, of course, once we get one of these books, we need to immediately use it to fix things. So let's just teach the recipe of the bound book, which I don't think I just did. I think I only taught it how to craft the book. And we can just verify. Yep. Okay, so let's teach this thing to craft the book. We have a whole bunch of these books in here for some reason. I think I overcrafted one time, but that's okay. So that is not the right thing. Here, let me clear these out. So we're going to craft one of these. So this is the Sigduril throne, whatever in the world. So we need to go find the mineshaft. So this is the only part of configuration that I keep forgetting. So we need to get rid of that first off. I did forget about that. And then we're just... Whoops. I'm going to replace that. Change out that book. And then now put this back. And that should be golden. So dimensional mineshaft should be craftable. So we're going to say 16 of these guys. And we're just going to see what happens. So this should, in theory, only send enough items into the chest, because we do have it on the blocking and lock mode. And just run the recipe. Once it's done, it'll run the next. Once it's done, it'll run the next. Once it's done, it'll run the next, over and over and over again, until we get all 16 of these. Of course, this is actually going to be the speed at which we would operate to even do this manually. So I just press a button, and I can go do whatever else I want, right? And of course, we can do that with all of these other rituals as well. Just make sure, of course, if they are sacrificing rituals, you really could set up a system for it, but that would be up to you guys, because I personally am not going to be doing that. I don't think it would be complicated, especially with just dire things, and putting like a, you know, power sword, an energy sword of some sort in there, and just making sure, of course, you deploy it at the right time, because the book needs to be down before you do that, because the ritual needs to be quote-unquote started, or, you know, in the pre-start phase before you sacrifice. All right. Beautiful. Slow, but beautiful. And I will be right back here in a little bit. Alrighty. So, I've got the 16 dimensional mine shafts. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these dimensional mine shafts and a whole bunch of stuff in my backpack, apparently, because I just misclicked on a lot of it. And we're going to, I think, right-click on this and just insert. So, these things are pretty slow. By default, they are pretty slow. But they will produce ore, which is a good thing. We can speed this up with Industrial Foregoing Souls, but I'm going to actually do that next episode, most likely. And we are just going to put in our miners here. And then we're going to work on automating the rest of this and getting the ores and stuff out of this, but also getting the miners out of this, which I think, I'm hoping at least, that these are a little bit better than I remember. So at pipes, I think we'll do the bottom section of this to be removing the miner. Which we're going to use pipes for, because I always found this to be easier. Let's grab a handful more pipes. Okay. So what we need to do now is just grab some pipe upgrades. Let's go with these. So we're going to say 16 of these bad boys. Alright, so let's get the pipe filters placed down, and I did just take all the miners out because they're basically full at this point. That's one of the things you really need to do before you place them down, is get inventory and items figured out. But for right now, we just wanted them to take a little bit of damage. So we're going to get rid of the spirit name. So this first line here, get rid of the comma, and then we're going to go to the very beginning. And we're going to say damage, okay? We're going to submit this for a second, and we're going to... it cleared out the NBT. Okay, so F3 and H. So how much durability do these guys have? 1,600. So I'm going to say we want at least 30 durability. So 1,600 and... Or no, 1,550 is what we're going to set this as. So let's remove this, so let's add. So we're going to, of course, get rid of this last portion. And then we're going to go to the very beginning, which is the damage. And we're going to say 1,550. So that will leave this with 50 durability. Okay. We're going to copy this line. And we're going to match. And we're going to submit. And that will be exactly what we're looking for. So this miner, if I were to put any one of these in here, it will pull only on durability. There's no other real thing. So it says not yet known because we're not really caring for it. Which is perfect. And I mean, realistically, you could get this stuff cleared out fully if you wanted to. So we could just have this tag being the only one we care about, which is not a bad thing. And I accidentally just backed out of that. But yeah, submit, and that's one tag. So let's just go through all of these and add that tag, and we should be golden. Alright, so for removing ores, we're going to add a filter here that will just have nothing in the tags, blacklist it, so it doesn't pull lamps out in any capacity, and it'll pull out just the other stuff. So we're going to grab a barrel. I'm actually going to upgrade this to a gold, and then from a gold to a diamond, and then from a diamond to the netherite tier. We need to apparently craft that up. Why did it just... Oh, interesting. There's like a different variation of the barrel. I actually did not notice that. Anyway, that should be what we need. And we're just going to put that there. And things should hopefully flow into it. I hope. I hope this doesn't have like some weird side issues. But it looks like it may have issues with the sides. Oh, that's not what I was hoping for. Not by any means. So the side stuff is still a weird issue with this. So we're going to try is to do the back then. So we're just going to put in the upgrades as we go. Because all of these upgrades are the exact same. Okay. And then we just take this barrel, push it back here. Okay, so that does work. So we just have it on the back side. So let me get this side flipped, and hopefully it'll actually allow for us to export out of the bottom. I'm hoping. Hoping. Also, I did notice that there is an ability to match exact NBT data, but we're just keeping this with matched only. I didn't change that. I just wanted to mention it. I noticed that there's two options. The default one that's selected is the perfect option that we want, because we're only matching for damage and not the name of the spirit or anything of that sort. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so we're doing some experimentation here. I've got an Unbreaking 3 and Mending book here. I'm going to put this on one of the master miners, the Merid miner things here. And what we're going to do is we've got a backpack. We're going to put this in this backpack, and we're going to see if this will actually function. So I don't think it's going to do what I was thinking it was going to do. So if I hold it in my hand, it's going to do it, but it doesn't do it in the backpack, which is kind of what I was hoping it would do. And I don't know why you wouldn't have that functionality. Because that would make sense, right? Like, to me, that makes sense. I was hoping this was going to work. And it doesn't just work if we set it on the ground or anything either. So it's just if it was in a hand. I'm curious. Got one more idea. There we go. Okay, so this is a little bit more complicated than I wanted it to be. But this should function. So what we need to do is we need to make a mob farm. I know we're going to just keep going back and forth with doing some weird stuff. But theoretically, all we got to do is we got to make sure that this XP obelisk, which I believe can pick up XP out of the world. It cannot. Okay, so how do we go about that then? So can I take a fluid pipe? If I can pipe a fluid pipe from here to here, can I pipe in levels? I can pipe in levels. So that means... But that's not essence, though. if I were to do this with Industrial Foregoing, I would need to do Essence. Industrial Foregoing. Do we have a drain or anything like that from this? Because I don't think we do. The only thing that I can think of is the Crusher, the Mob Crusher, which is how you would get XP. Which this would work. We also do have the option of... Well, actually, I don't know. Does the formation plane drop experience whenever you break one of these things? For example, nether quartz. So if we just go down here, and we grab a cable... Right? Cable, formation plane... no, annihilation. So we're just going to look up plane. Also, yes, this thing right here has been crafting the entire last little while. I know I've got to fix it. I've been just trying to get some other stuff going before I fix that. So if I do this, it does not drop experience. Okay, well, that's one test. So does a block breaker from Just Dire Things do it? So if I were to just put this down, put my pickaxe in here, grab an ender gate, and place this down, and grab... Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Just trying to fly over here. Make it quicker. So that does drop experience. But I bet it wouldn't drop experience, of course, for everything, which is another thing. It wouldn't drop it for every block. So that would cause a deficit of experience. Ooh, we actually have 2 of these guys now. We can actually make the Eldritch Miners now. But I'm not too worried about that right now. So things like redstone, coal, diamonds, emeralds, sulfur, the nether gold ore, and the nether quartz, and the dimensional shard ore, which I forgot about, would drop experience. And I think this stuff does too, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So there's options for getting experience, but I think the more reliable is if we can get essence, which we are going to do in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I am coming up with this as we go. I thought the backpack would be a good idea to do mending enchants, but I forget that it's only when the player is actually having it in their back, like on them or in their hand, of course, thing. So that is kind of disappointing, but overall, we are going to keep on keeping on. We've got the solution. We're going to apply unbreaking and mending to all of the miners, which isn't bad because it's like 1 emerald per book. So, you know, double that and then do it a couple more times. But at the end of the day, we also are going to get the Eldritch Miners. So that may be a thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.